Hey Stranger Things fans, this is Justin Scott from the Blue Note Fan Report coming to you tonight to talk about the series finale for Stranger Things coming up next week and my death predictions on what I see possibly happening in the finale. Now these are predictions. They're my predictions, my opinions alone. If you do not agree with them, that is a-okay. You can comment on what your death predictions are and what your theories are going into the finale. But this may contain spoilers for Volume 2 that recently just dropped. If you have not seen it and you do not want spoilers, I would click off this video and come back to it maybe later. I appreciate you guys tuning in, but let's get into the death predictions on what I think is possibly going to happen. We're going to tackle each character, as many characters as we can. Some will have in-depth reasoning, some may not. So, let's get into it. Starting us off will be the trauma-driven Will Byers. Will Byers finally found out that he has kind of some sort of powers, and he's able to kind of combat Vecna. Me personally, Will has been through the ringer in this series, and I just don't think that you're going to have a character like that come out to the whole entire group, and then you're going to kill him off in the next episode. Highly unlikely Will dies. I'm saying he's safe, and I'm going to say he's 100% safe. I don't see why you would kill Will off in any aspect. Now we get to Lucas. Lucas is a mainstay of the main cast of the major group of kids. But for me, Lucas has always been a character that's always just been there. The biggest thing that he's had this season was the reunion with Max. And we'll get to Max a little bit later on my thoughts on that. But I think Lucas is going to be safe. Now we get to Mike, and Mike is one of those characters that has not had a bunch to do this season. He's just kind of been there. He's still part of the main group, and I love the character of Mike. I loved him in the first two seasons. Didn't like him a crazy amount in season 3 and 4 with the way that he kind of acted with everything. And then 5, he's kind of regained his arc a little bit, in my opinion. But Mike is a character that I don't see dying. I don't see that there's any reason to kill him off. And we'll talk about his counterpart a little later. Erica, she's safe. There's really no explanation here. She's safe. See, I know a lot of people are 50-50 on whether or not Nancy could die or live. For me, I think she lives. I think it's a pretty simple she lives. I just don't see them killing her off. I think she's just kind of an aura farmer at most. Like, she does a bunch of badass stuff, and that's kind of what she does, and that's, what it is. But I think that the showrunners should have been ballsy and killed her and Jonathan in the unproposal scene. They didn't go that route, but Nancy, to me, is safe. Holly. Holly is someone who's going to live. I don't see why they would make her such a main focus in this season and kill her off. There's just no way in my mind that Holly is a goner in this one. So she lives 100%. Now we get to the GOAT himself, dipshit Derek, and I think Derek is safe. I would love for him to get some sort of revenge hit or something on Henry for what he did, threatening to kill his parents and his sister, and just the messed up scene that was. So Derek is safe in my mind, but I hope he gets some sort of a revenge on Henry. Now, this is where I could get a lot of backlash. In this, I have Dustin living. For me, I don't see the Duffers brothers getting ballsy enough to kill off Dustin. I get it. All signs point to him kind of sacrificing himself for the group and kind of becoming a hero just like Eddie. But I just don't see it happening. They've played it so safe that I don't have any trust that they'll play it ballsy here. So I'm going to go with Dustin lives, but I'm going to put an asterisk by it that I would not be surprised if they did toy with the idea of the whole Steve and Dustin, die together pact that they made. I would not be surprised. Now we have Vicky, fan favorite Robin. And then we have loving mother, overprotective mother, and Joyce Byers. And I know you're thinking, why did I put these three characters together? Now, Robin has been highly speculated to be dying in this finale, and although I could see that, I could also see a world where Vicky is possibly the one to meet her demise, and this would be the traumatic moment for a Robin character who has to live with that, who didn't want Vicky involved in this. She didn't want Vicky to get hurt in any way, and Vicky thought that Robin was crazy, that she needed mental help, and then she eventually saw that Robin was telling her the truth. And then how terrible would it be that Vicky gets involved and then she ends up dying in the end, anyways? Possibly trying to save Robin, or maybe you could see a thing where Robin possibly risked her life to save Vicky. I think one of the two probably is going to go, but I think my biggest comparison that I'm going to make is between Robin and Mrs. Byers. Now, I can see both of these characters dying. I can see them both living. I can see one dying, one living. But the biggest connection between these two characters is the connection with Will. Will, obviously, Robin, close friend. She gave him the courage to eventually come out to his mother and his friends, and she's been nothing but a great friend to him all season. And the two dynamic between them is just outstanding. And then obviously you have Joyce Byers, who has been with Will his whole life, and obviously since the beginning of all this. So, what is going to be the catalyst for Will to eventually use his powers to overcome Vecna? There has to be something that pushes Will over the edge. And I think that it could possibly be one of the two dying in the end. Now, I could break some hearts with this one, could be a little controversial, but the reason I have Max and maybe is because although she made it out, the dialogue between her, Holly, and Henry while they were in the cave was interesting because he told her that there was other ways of getting to her. And I think for me, I think the most logical guess would be that Max would sacrifice herself for Holly, and maybe Max gets sucked in again, and she ends up meeting her demise from the hands of her sacrificing herself for Holly. So I think that I'm not taking it off the table. I'm not taking it off the table that Max could die, but Max could also live. So I'm not taking it off the table either way. Now we have Jonathan Byers, and then we have fan favorite Steve Harrington. And for me, I could see both dying. I can see both living. I can see one living, one dying. For me, though, if they both die, it'll be for the same cause. And it'll be for Nancy. It'll be for Dustin. It'll be for the entire group. And I could see a scenario where both come together and kind of have that, you're all right kind of moment. Like, you're a good dude. I respect you, you respect me kind of thing. And they both sacrifice themselves for the group, and specifically Nancy and Dustin. So this is a high possibility that these two could possibly meet their demise, or at least one of them. But let me know your thoughts on Steve and Jonathan, because I know it's a hot topic. Now, Hopper is interesting. They could toy with the idea of having him sacrifice himself with the bomb and, doing the explosion, but I feel like it would just be cheap at this point. He's had so many cop-out deaths that I just feel that it would be cheap right now if you killed him off. So I'm going to say no on Hopper, but they could. 11 is a character that I could see dying, and I can see living somehow and possibly losing her powers. I know there's a lot of people that say that she's going to die, but I personally think that it could be a red herring. The fact that they focus so much on it makes me believe that they're not going to do it. So I'm kind of hit or miss on 11, if I'm honest. She could die, she could not die, she could live and not have her powers anymore. It's kind of a 50-50 toss-up. First, we have henchman to Dr. K, Robert Akers, Dr. K herself, Kaylee, beloved Murray, and of course, Henry himself. Vecna, I think, is going to be vanquished. There you have it. Those are my predictions for Stranger Things series finale coming next week. I'm excited. I just hope the Duffers brothers do not play it safe and predictable when it comes to this writing, where they have everybody live, because there needs to be stakes and there needs to be people that die. There's going to be loved ones that die that we really enjoy as characters, but that's just how the show cycle goes. But let me know your thoughts on these predictions. Did you like them? Did you agree with them? Did you not agree with them? Let me know in the comments. This is Justin Scott from the Blue Note Fan Report. Thank you for joining me.